Ouch! My stomach hurts. Jackson. Are you okay? When I returned home from my parents' house, suddenly, my husband began clutching his stomach in pain. I rushed to my husband in a hurry, but he seems to be in a lot of pain and can't move. Immediately call 911 and call an ambulance. It seems that he was eating a while ago, so maybe he has food poisoning. Leave it to me. I'll definitely help you. I called out to encourage him and went to my husband's room to get a blanket. I definitely wanted to help my husband, but as soon as I entered the room, my feelings disappeared quickly. My name is Sammy Boyle and I work for an IT company. I met my husband, Jackson, through work and got married. Even after marriage, I continued to work. There are no children. At the company, I am the leader of the development team, and I am busy every day. So for now, I don't feel like having children. So that's why we're both working. Weekdays are busy, but on days off, we spend relaxed time together or occasionally go out far away, enjoying a fulfilling married life. That's how it was supposed to be. As time passes beyond the phase often referred to as the honeymoon period of marriage, we start to see each other's flaws as well. What I am dissatisfied with is the division of household chores. My husband seems to be not good at housework, probably because he has lived at his parents' house for a long time. At first, I quietly covered up for my husband's forgetfulness when he made mistakes. Maybe that was a bad thing. It seemed like my husband had developed a taste for slacking off, as he started intentionally avoiding tasks. I am so busy with work that I sometimes get home late. I get sick of coming home late at night and seeing my room in a mess. Each time I got angry and confronted him, my husband would apologize and promise to take household chores seriously. But gradually he stops doing it. Speaking of complaints, eating habits are one of them. On the day when my husband is on duty to eat, he doesn't cook and asks for delivery without permission. We both had a family credit card, with the withdrawals linked to our joint account. I think he uses that card to pay. My husband isn't as busy as I am, so he should be able to get home early. If so, he should make his own. After a few years of marriage, the balance of income between my husband and me shifted completely in my favor. Having a similar income level would be ideal, but that was still okay. Even though we both work, he skips housework and cuts corners, trying to spend money in vain. Recently, my husband's sloppiness has become noticeable. My husband and I had many discussions. On the spot, he says, "It was bad, I'm going to do it properly from now on." But after a while, it became repetitive and I started to feel resentful. Is it okay to continue living in a marriage like this?
Can you imagine making $10,000 a month just from YouTube, all from home? That's exactly what I did with Reddit Stories. No face, no voice. Check the link in the description if you're curious.
There were times when I thought about talking to someone rather than worrying about it alone. My parents were the first to come to mind, but they were too worried. If I confide in them about my troubles, they will rush in from afar and cause an extra commotion. On the other hand, my parents-in-law are sweet to my husband. Even when I consulted with them, I could see that they would say, "Forgive him that much," or, "It is the wife's duty to set up her husband." My husband has a younger sister named Cecil, who graduated from junior college but chose not to pursue a job and instead works at a cabaret club. Our lifestyles are quite different, so we don't see each other often. It will be difficult to talk to her. And I became estranged from my friend from my school days after I got married. In the end, I didn't have anyone to talk to. One day, I was able to get home a little earlier than usual, so I opened the front door thinking, let's relax a little bit today. Then it smelled very good. Oh, thank you. A delivery staff dressed in black was leaving. She was wearing a hat and I couldn't see her face, but she was a young woman. Did you order delivery again? Oh, suddenly I want to eat. There is a lunch box on the table, only for one person. That's when I got irritated. Because I woke up early this morning and cooked dinner for the night. I told my husband when I went out. You don't cook even on your duty day, you don't eat meals made by others, why are you so selfish? My husband didn't answer my words clearly and stuttered. As I started to get heated up due to his ambiguous attitude, he began to make excuses. According to my husband, there are times when he can't eat what he doesn't like, and sometimes I just want to eat his favorite food. I can't help but be stunned that the reason is childish selfishness. If you want to eat as much as you like, why don't you go back to your parents' house? I can't live with you anymore. It's not an immediate divorce, but it's better to live separately. When I said that firmly, my husband seemed to realize it was serious and quickly apologized. Thinking that forgiving him too easily would lead to a repeat of the same situation, I returned to my room without saying a word. However, the next morning, to my surprise, my husband was up early and preparing breakfast. Even after returning home, he takes the initiative in doing housework. There were days when my husband was late for work, but he still tried to keep his share of household chores. Did he really change his mind, or was it just as temporary as usual? I don't know which one, but I could tell that my husband was about to change. My father was hospitalized due to an accident. A few days after my husband's change, I was panicked by the sudden news. Even my mother, who came to inform me, seemed to be flustered, as her words were disjointed and lacked coherence. Anyway, let's see it in person. I decided to go back to my hometown for the first time in a long time. Fortunately, I was able to take a vacation and my husband was willing to send me off. My husband has started to do more housework than before, and I feel that he has become kinder to me. I'm worried about my father, but I'm honestly happy about the change in my husband. Huh? Did you just twist your leg? Yes, it's a minor injury. Your mom made too much of a fuss. Because you say it hurts. Even if he said that he was in a traffic accident while walking, it was a light contact, and he only slightly twisted his leg when he fell down. The treatment at the hospital lasted only one day, and my father had returned home. They're both blaming each other, but the scene is reminiscent of a comedic duo, which brings a smile to my face. I was relieved that both my parents seem to be doing well. The good relationship is the same. When I get older, I want to be a couple like my parents. I was almost swayed by my parents' words, "You should take it easy," but I decided to leave right away. I'm happy just to see my parents in good spirits. Also, I didn't think it was a good idea to be too indulgent to my husband, who was willing to send me away. I told him that I might stay at my parents' house, but I was surprised that I was able to leave early. With that in mind, I opened the front door. And when I called out to him right now, he seemed to be in a hurry. As I was taking off my shoes while wondering about it, the delivery staff came out with a large bag on her shoulder. "It's that young woman I've seen before." I called out to her as she passed by, but she left without saying anything. The delivery woman from earlier just came out of the living room. "I wonder why." "You're there, aren't you?" I call my husband as I step inside. My husband had just come out of his room into the living room. My husband's face is bad and he is in a cold sweat. Did something happen after all? The moment I thought so. Ouch! My stomach hurts. The husband, who fell on the spot, began to suffer with his stomach. "Jackson, are you okay? Maybe the recent delivery he ate caused his stomach trouble." I hurriedly took out my phone and called 911. "Don't worry, an ambulance will come soon. Why don't you rest in your room for the time being?" "Huh. Nope. My husband doesn't want to move on the spot with his stomach still pressed. It must be so painful that he can't move." "Okay, I'll just bring a blanket from the room." "I'll definitely help you." "Oh, wait." When I went to the room, my husband tried to chase me impatiently. When I turn around and look at it, he panics and presses his stomach and it starts to hurt. I was worried about my husband's condition, but I hurried. As soon as I entered my husband's room, the smell of a woman's perfume hit my nose. This smell is. And along with the lingering scent in the room, what caught my eye was the bank passbook for our joint account. Come to think of it, I was so busy that I hadn't checked my balance for a long time. I approached as if I was being sucked in and opened my passbook. After a while an ambulance came. It seems that my husband opened the front door. It might be food poisoning. Please, go to the hospital right away. I'm begging you. Please don't help him. What? The paramedics tried to take my husband, who seemed to be in bad shape, but he was confused when I called out to stop him. I apologized and asked the paramedics to leave. Then I turned to my husband. "Can you explain what I mean?" In my hands, I held a bundle of bank passbooks and receipts. "It's not just you, let's get the delivery staff to come too." "Hey. She doesn't matter. She seems to get along with you pretty well." "No, that's not why." I approached my reluctant husband and made him call. It turned out the delivery staff hadn't gone too far, as she returned promptly. I call out to her who doesn't come in easily. "It's been a long time, I didn't notice you because I didn't have a different impression than when I saw you at my parents' house, Cecil." Perhaps because her identity was revealed, my sister-in-law came in with a Buddhist face. The one who comes to the house is always a young female delivery staff. From the smell of perfume in the room, I initially suspected my husband of cheating. However, I thought of another possibility. The scent was familiar, like something I had written about before. I recalled smelling the same scent at my in-laws' house. The owner of the smell was my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law was a hostess, and her image was flashy, and her makeup was so different that I thought she was a different person, so I couldn't remember it right away because I only saw her occasionally. And a stack of passbooks and receipts in my hands. She must have been in a hurry. When I looked at the passbook that had been left out, I saw that a considerable amount of money had been withdrawn every month. And there are tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of receipts. You gave it to Cecil. My husband was silent, but the silence was like proof of affirmation. I think it might add up to over $1 million just by a quick look, but did you really need that much money? I heard you were earning a good salary. Working in this kind of job, there are various expenses for clothes and socializing, you know. So, I thought about asking my brother for some financial support. My sister-in-law replied with a smirk. In order to deceive my eyes, she pretended to be a delivery staff and went in and out of my house, and she brought back a large bag with what her husband had bought. It seemed that she was making money by selling it on an auction site. My sister-in-law didn't seem to have any sense of guilt as she spoke freely. He even said, "You're making a lot of money, so why don't you give it to my cute little sister?" It seems that my husband is not going to remain silent and apologize. I feel dumbfounded, annoyed, and indescribable. Wake up early, make breakfast, take the initiative in doing housework. There were days when my husband was late for work, but he still tried to keep his share of housework. When I returned home to check on my father, he kindly sent me away. It was all an act to deceive me. I really can't forgive. I can't trust everything anymore. I'm going to get a divorce. My husband must have expected it. He accepted it obediently. He said he would immediately pack his bags and go back to his parents' house. You're a good earner and your housework is perfect, but I'm half-hearted. I always felt like I was being looked down upon. Finally, the husband said with a grudge and walked out. After that, I asked a lawyer for divorce mediation. It was also to claim the money that my husband spent from the shared account. I was told that my lawyer didn't know how much I would get back and that it would take time. But this won't sit well with me if it continues like this. I couldn't afford to do anything to hold my husband and sister-in-law accountable. However, soon after, my husband and sister-in-law reportedly went to my in-laws' house to seek help. Even after she ran out of money, my sister-in-law seems to have spent more money than she earns by shopping as she pleases. It seems that the husband gave the money to his sister-in-law without stopping it. As a result, they were both in debt. This happens because they only think about yourself when you act. It's completely self-inflicted. However, as time went on, I started to calm down a bit. The words of the departing husband. It wasn't just a feeling of defeat, it was probably an honest feeling. There was a part of me that unconsciously looked down on my husband. There is guilt on the part of my husband for betraying me. However, as a wife, have I been supportive enough to my husband? If you live as a couple, you can see the parts that you don't like about each other. You can't just blame the other person and try to fit in. It is important to be considerate of others. Work and marriage are the same. I felt that I had to be honest with the other person.